Hey everyone, what's up? On this video, I'm gonna talk about the new content that was added to the official website of Aliens Dark Descent, which they have added information with regards to the marine classes that you can play as in the game, and the alien types which you're gonna be encountering and fighting against. Here, there's some animations here showing the kind of gameplay that we're gonna be having in this game. I keep comparing automatically every single time that I see gameplay of it to Aliens vs Predator Extinction that was released on PlayStation 2 back in 2005, because it's like this most similar game that we had into this franchise, which is also kind of like strategy squad based game. Here we can see the kind of marine classes that we have so far: Gunner, Medic, Recon, Sergeant, and Techer, which is, I suppose, it should be like Technician actually. It reminds me a little bit of the ones from, of course, Aliens Firefighting Elite, which was the latest alien game that we had. Pretty much like the same thing. Gunner is supposed, he has his smart gun, so I suppose he's gonna be reminding a little bit of the Demolisher for Aliens Fighting Elite. Medic, we had the Doc in Aliens Fighting Elite. Also had a Recon. Sergeant seems like the Gunner type from that game, and Techer is like the Technician from the game. So like the squad classes, they seem to be very similar to those that we saw in the previous Alien game. Gunner is one of the most recognizable marine of the squad. I started Daredevil holding the smart gun, of course. It's gonna be my favorite one because Demolisher in Aliens Fighting Elite was the one that I went for right away, just because I wanted to use the heavy weapon. I hope the smart gun on this game can do more damage than the one in Fighting Elite, because it was lacking in regards to the damage. Providing his team with exceptional fire support. Yeah, I'm hoping this is probably the class that is gonna be going for damage. Medic is the one to keep them alive. Also in AVP Extinction, we also had some of these different classes. We actually had more. In Aliens AVP Extinction, we had over 10 classes, maybe around 10 classes. In this one, we only have 5, but we did also have a medic there. This one is just to keep everybody alive. Yeah, I suppose that if the medic dies, everybody's fucked, because then they probably won't be able to heal. Which was the case in AVP Extinction. You were only able to heal as long as you had a medic on your squad. Recon, quick and equipped with a light pulse rifle. The Recon is the deadly Master Scout. The Master Scout is squad counsel. I suppose she is gonna have the ability to scan enemies. I hope it's like the one that was in Aliens Fighting It, because I really did like that you could scan enemies, spot them to the walls, just do that kind of stuff. In AVP Extinction, I suppose the one that could look like this, to scout areas, just to go ahead of the others, was probably the synthetic class. Oh, we don't have a synthetic class. It would be cool if you had a synthetic on your marine squad. I think that it would be interesting. The Sergeant is supposed to leader, yeah, the team leader with a strategic mindset. Is like the Comtech in AVP Extinction. In Firefighting Elite, we didn't really have a leader on the squad. It could be anyone. Provides confidence and control to the squad. I suppose there are certain orders which only you can give to the Sergeant. Techer, the most intelligent asset of the squad. The Techer is a resourceful and clever marine capable of to hack almost anything. So they're supposed to unlock doors. Maybe he probably be carrying a sentry gun, right? I mean, I'm expecting him to be a little bit like the one in Fighting Elite, which he could carry the sentry gun, which in a way, even though the marine class itself is not very strong, but since he brings a sentry gun, which I hope it is the case, the sentry gun does a lot of damage, and I really like to use the sentry gun in Fighting Elite. And here we have the kind of enemies that we're going to be facing. I mean, only new thing that we have here is this Guardian, guys. I thought at first that it could possibly be an engineer because of how tall they are, but they're actually human. They're just crazy fanatic humans that worship xenomorphs. Not the first time that they have done human characters like this. They have done in comics, I think, maybe a few novels which had people that actually worship these xenomorphs. First enemy that we're going to be encountering, of course, facehuggers, the most basic xenomorph, the little baby xenomorph. I mean, not even a baby, it's more like the sperm that is looking for a egg to impregnate. When the egg detects a suitable host, the facehugger it contains comes to life. The spider-like parasitoid form of the xenomorph exists solely to implant a xenomorph within a living creatures. I mean, they're the easiest one to deal with. They tend to die very fast. In pretty much any alien game, they are very easy to kill, just a few bullets and they're dead. But they usually do insta kills, which I wonder if it's gonna be the case for this one. If facehugger comes to your squad, you're gonna lose. Then you're gonna have. I don't know how it works. I'm wondering that in AVP Extinction, if you lose a squad member, you could call for more as long as you had your leader, the sergeant, the leader of the squad, the Comtech. If you had Comtechs, you could like send more Marines, reinforcements, you know? I don't know if like the facehugger can instantly kill, like in previous games, it was always like insta-kills. I mean, except the latest one, AVP 2010, Aliens Colonial Marines, they kinda took that away. They kinda gave you like a chance to just push the facehugger back under certain conditions, but in most of the games that we had, facehuggers, they are very glass cannon, they can insta-kill you in just, usually like, just by jumping your face, but they also are very easy to kill. Here we have like the new enemy type. I suppose we're gonna be fighting these guys. I mean, it's more interesting than fighting other humans or synthetics like we had in previous Alien games. These guys, they look more unique, but they are kind of like, yeah, they are a very unique creation. Tech is coming for the first time in this one. Even though we had like other appearance of guys or like human alien hybrids. And technically this one is not a hybrid. They are just like how I say here, elite of the Darby era, not only in combat sense but in culturon. These fanatics voluntarily undergo the implantation of device Marlow named embryostatus, which slow down the xenomorph's life cycle by postponing the birth of the creature. Yeah, I noticed in the trailer that they have like a chest burster inside of them, but it doesn't seem to be coming out. It's like holding into them. So like it's like the chest burster, the alien that is inside them is like in stasis. Kind of weird, but well, but it's supposed to come out eventually, right? I imagine that at one point the xenomorph is gonna want to be born. Equipped with such apparatus, the Guardians are able to walk among the xenomorphs without danger, of course, because they have an alien on them, so to the aliens they're like, oh, they're just a host, even though they are able to walk, like they're like moving around, unlike most hosts that are like glued to the wall. But the aliens probably won't do anything to them. Pretorians, one of my favorite alien types. I did say it was a Praetorian in the trailer because someone said, oh, I'm not sure if that is a Praetorian. Of course it was, you can tell by the head. It looks very similar to the design that we saw in Aliens Fighting It. Theory states that the Pretorians evolved from chosen drones once a hive near its full development. Yes, that's one of my favorite theories for the origin of the Pretorians, which was, I don't remember if it was the first time that they mentioned this, but I remember like the first time that I read it was in the PC game Aliens vs Predator 2 from 2001, which they gave this whole explanation about how at a certain time, at a certain size, the alien hive, after to span like upon a region, some of the drones are chosen to become Praetorians, and there's like it's part of the evolution of the hive as it grows, which is the reason why we didn't see that in the movie so far. Like in the movies that we saw alien hives, there are no Praetorians because the hive have not evolved yet to such state. Significantly larger and tougher than typical xenomorphs because they have like a harder skin. Like in AVP2, they have like almost like a bulletproof skin. It was very hard skin, which they go through a whole explanation in the lore about how they go through the process of getting their skin that hard. These bipedal creatures can be identified by the broad head crest and longer dorsal spines. Good that they are bringing in. I mean, the more alien types, the better, in my opinion, for games at least. Because in games, the more enemies types that you can have, you have like more variety in how to deal with enemies. It's usually for the best. I like it that Aliens Fighting it added a bunch of new types, the bursters, the crawlers, spitters, even though some of them don't make much sense, like lore-wise, has why aliens would develop it that way. I thought it was cool anyway. Of course, the alien queen. Every hive is led by a queen. Of course, it's mandatory. Probably the final boss in this game is gonna be the queen. These specimens are regarded as the biggest and most intelligent form of the xenomorph, the big brain of the hive, and also the biggest one in size that can actually fight you off. A queen's main purpose is to lay within the hive, a mission she completes with the help of the ovipositor, a sort of abdomen that produces eggs. She's probably gonna be just the final boss. Runners, the little four-legged aliens based on the runner from the Alien 3 movie. Quite different from human spawned xenomorphs, the runners probably inherit their physiology from four-legged animals like cows or dogs. As the name implies, runners are exceptionally fast and athletic, but their speed comes at a cost, as they are nowhere near as resilient as drones or warriors. Yeah, they have less HP. That tends to be the case in most games. They have more speed, but they have less HP. Like what's the case from like I think ever since the game AVP2, which had like different classes. You have like the runner, the warrior, the Predator, which is like there are different stats with regards to HP and speed. Runner being the fastest but with lowest HP. The normal drone or warrior is like the average one. Predator, a little bigger, has more HP but a little less speed. And then the Pretorian is just like the tank, just is slow but with more HP than the others. Synthetic. Oh, these guys are just like, they're still taking the synthetic design from like Sixon. Yeah, old maintenance synths originally manufactured by Sixon have been purchased by William Britani on outdated stations and then repurposed with better AI. Oh, this one is gonna be smarter than the ones we had in Isolation and Fighting Elite, I guess. The face does look a little more different, looks a little bit more human. The ones in Isolation, which they started with the synthetic 6 on design, they look much more emotionless and they look less human, they look more ship. These ones look a little bit more, it's like a little evolution, you know, on the ship synthetics that they make here. But I wonder if we're gonna be fighting these guys. I'm not really interested in fighting synthetics. I already had enough of that in Fighting Elite. Even though it was just like one level which you fought a lot of synthetics. Other ones was like half the level. They like half the level you fight synthetics, half the level you fight aliens. But I'm much more, I mean, in an alien game you want to fight aliens, you don't want to fight synthetics. Anti-generic warrior, drone, whatever drones or warriors are two separate classes within the hive is still up to debate. Yeah, in this one they're just making like they all be the same pretty much. Aliens Fighting Elite, I like that they made the warrior and the drone separate, but I don't really mind if the default alien class that you fight in the game, whatever it's gonna be called, warrior or drone, like usually can be one or the other. Like there's some discussion there. Warriors are like older drones because like the aliens at start they start with the translucent dome and then it becomes like the rigid head. I don't really mind it. I mean, some games prefer to make the warriors and the drone be the same thing. Others make them separate classes like Colonial Marines, Fighting Elite and stuff, but for me, I don't really mind that much. One thing is for sure though, specimens described as warriors are considered to be more dangerous. Most of them are recognized by their rigid skulls and segmented tails. Yeah, they're following mainly the design from the second Alien movie, which make these bipedal xenomorphs look even more sinister. I wonder if it is already off then, or they might have more surprises coming. Because I wish they had a little. I hope this is not like all the enemy types in the game. Because after the Aliens Fighting Elite, I mean, we had a lot of more enemy types there, like a lot more variety. I hope they do have a little bit more, have more surprises for us in this upcoming game. But I think so far I'm kind of okay with how things are looking, and I am definitely going to be playing this game next month.